Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Standing by with us is Dr. Bala Takaya, the National President of the Middle Belt Forum. You're welcome to the program, sir.
I'm glad to be here.
You know, we've just seen this report in which you've made a pretty strong allegation concerning the farmers' herdsmen crisis, and that is that this is simply an ethnic cleansing exercise. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, what else would you call it? When some group of criminals will go in the middle of the night, meet a village in a choice environment, choice farming environment, and set fire to their houses, kill the people that are escaping from the fire, destroy the buildings, and then disappear into the thin air. And then when the neighbors run to come to help, the criminals will have run away. And that is the time when the police or the military joint task forces will arrive. And then who will they meet on the scene? The local residents who have heard the distress call and have gone to help their neighbors. They will be carrying machetes, probably, maybe then guns. Not sophisticated weapons like the ones the criminals have just used. And they are arrested, detained, and charged for, doing what had just happened. Could neighbors do that to neighbors? What do you call a situation where a drove of cattle will be driven at high speed, maybe 500 cows, through a farm with mature crops, chasing away the owners of the farms? Then the cows will go and destroy the farms. Or the harvested ones that are already in dump will be set on fire or cut down to feed the livestock. If this happens twice, 3 times on a piece of land, the community will not learn to come back to that place. But what you find eventually is people grazing on the land. What do you call that except ethnic cleansing? Why does it happen to farmers? Why does it happen to natives, the autochthones of those areas? What will we call it?
Sir, those that would question the notion that, that this is an ethnic cleansing exercise would say that, there are so many different ethnic groups that are being affected by this thing, that it's not just one target group, if you will. It's across the country. Yeah. What do you have to say about that?
The Middle Belt environment, for instance, is populated by myriads of ethnic nationalities. And they are the ancestral owners of the farmlands within this area. And if you notice the kind of places where these things are happening, they are the best choice agricultural lands or settlements. Talk about Yalwashandam, talk about Zangongataf, talk about Benue, environment, food basket of the nation. Talk about, the Nasarawa environment. Talk about Newman environment. Talk about Gire. Talk about Godogodo, stretching from, the Godogodo village down to the Gonto, and stretching across to Jagindi. These are beautiful farmlands, and the people there are being chased away from their farm settlements. Agriculture is being destroyed, but cattle are being grazed there. But we have been told that the criminals are not our local Fulani. The criminals are foreign Fulani.
Dr. Takaya, I'm sorry, but we're going to continue in a moment.
Yes.
We're just going to take a brief commercial break and we'll continue this insightful conversation. Our viewers, please stay with us. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. With us is Dr. Bala Takaya, the National President of the Middle Belt Forum. And sir, I just want to continue this conversation by asking you this. President Muhammadu Buhari has been on record publicly as saying that, given the intelligence reports that he faces at his level, that there are foreign actors that are essentially masquerading as herdsmen to destabilize Nigeria, particularly terrorist groups that are now kind of transfiguring, if you will. What are your thoughts on that in view of your explosive allegation that this is an ethnic cleansing exercise?
I'm glad the president is coming out to understand the situation as foreign marauders invading Nigeria. But it's a pity that our borders can be infiltrated very easily by foreigners. What is government for? Government is supposed to protect our borders and protect its citizens. And who knows the Fulani more than the Sultan of Sokoto? The Sultan of Sokoto has been begging the government virtually to come and pick information from him. He speaks almost, seemingly in double tongues, but he is giving information. At one time he will say, these invaders are foreign Fulani, the AK-47 carrying gunmen. They are not local Fulani. They are not, another time he will say, Fulani herdsmen are not the killers. So, if they are Fulani, foreign Fulani, then what do you make of it? That's why I refer to it as ethnic cleansing. And it is only in Nigeria, sir, that the border is left so open, so free, for anybody to infiltrate, going in and out, carrying dangerous weapons and drugs unchecked. Yet we have multiplicity of security structures, security organizations to handle both the international border, even to operate outside the country in defense of Nigeria, let alone the ones in the country. Yet nobody or no group among the securities can track down the criminals. In countries that are well governed, in fact, I must say even our neighboring countries that are poorer than Nigeria, a criminal, whether a serial killer or bunch of persons like the ones that are doing the mayhem in Nigeria, cannot operate and kill people at will and disappear into thin air without being apprehended in a few weeks. They may run that long, but the long arm of the law will catch up with them. Where is our own long arm of the law? Or are they looking the other side?
Dr. Takaya, the police spokesman was on this program yesterday, and he laid it out that there have been arrests, there have been herdsmen brought before even the court of law, and that even the IG was sent to be on location in Benue State. I think he went to Nasarawa as well, but to be on location in Benue State to forestall any further violence. The question I want to ask you is, if you look at what has been happening in terms of policy within the Middle Belt, you're the national president of the Middle Belt Forum, is it not possible that policy in the Middle Belt right now is exacerbating what could be a controllable crisis?
Well, there is no policy in the Middle Belt because Middle Belt is not in power.
No, the anti-grazing bill is what I'm referring to within the state, within Benue State.
Okay. Well, in any case, referring to the police in the first place, my friends in the police are always on top of the situation, but we don't see the result of being on top of it. They always swing into action, but we don't see the result of that action. And I hope the deployment of the police, including the IG into Benue, is not like the deployment of JTF on the plateau and other places, where they will checkmate the locals from defending themselves from the foreign attackers, so that the attackers will finish doing the dirty job, and then when you come to try to pursue them, the police catches up with you and say you are the criminal. Now, coming to the issue of the grazing bill or no grazing bill and so on, I understand there is something that is called grazing colony, cattle colony. On another media, I said, I don't understand what cattle colony is, and nobody has educated me about that. Is it colony for cows? or colony for the herdsmen that rear the cows. And when you say colony, which part of the country are they going to colonize? And whose land, whose ancestral land are you going to cut out and allocate to these colonists? And are you not creating confusion? Are you not going to create communal warfare by using the power of government to parcel out land for other people to come and do economic activities on it and call it a cattle colony?
Dr. Takaya, we're going to go deeper in on this issue, but before we do that, I'm going to throw it over to Lagos, where my colleague Chamberlain is standing by. Chamberlain?